Welcome to Five Lemons Laughing. I'm here. I'm here with Drusilla, Penny, Melissa. Morgan is not with us. We send her our best. I'm Amanda. And have you ever noticed that some relationships don't just drain you? They actually trap you in a fog made of fear, obligation, and guilt. Fear for upsetting them, obligation to stay, guilt for even wanting out. Today, we're clearing the fog.
You
Today,
can't
we're
even say it,
clearing.
Amanda.
I can't even say it because it's good. We're going to clear it up. You know, you don't even have to fix people. Choosing peace doesn't make you cruel. It makes you honest. And yes, you can get new friends.
Yeah. Wow. Amanda, this is a big topic, actually, because it's all about having a tie with somebody that can be toxic. And so we have, I coach a lot of Catherine Woodward Thomas's work. And in her book, Calling in the one of the things that she talked about is how we need to evolve these toxic ties. And so we just have a few questions we're going to answer today. And I'm just going to share them with you all. And so you can be contemplating this as we go through the episode. But, where in your life do you have a feeling that you're controlled by fear, obligation, or guilt, rather than having, love really choose for you, or being in a loving, caring, kind, interdependent, compassionate relationship? Like, what fears or fear might be dominating you in any relationship that you have? What obligations do I feel compelled to fulfill? And in what ways am I allowing myself to be manipulated by feelings of guilt and shame? I mean, those are really powerful questions to ask ourselves, especially if something's kind of off in a relationship. If it feels like, I don't know, like it's just doesn't, feels like we're actually, like, you get exhausted, you get depleted when you're around this person. It's like they're sucking the energy out of you. And so, we just really want to take a look at that today and unpack it. We felt that it might be helpful. So, yeah.
Well, I know it'll be helpful for at least one person, the person who asked us to do this episode. And I was on the phone with her, and she was getting prepared to meet a friend. And she wanted to talk about, like, how she was going to keep her boundaries while going out with this friend, because she always gets blamed for things. And she always gets, like, this person recently lost a job. So she said that she tries to help, but the person then says, how do you know, you don't know, you have a job, you have a family, you don't know what I'm going through. So when I was bringing that example to the group, Penny goes, oh my gosh, fog, FOG, fog. And we were like, what are you talking about? And she said fear, obligation, and guilt. And she just hit it on the head, because one of the things I got clearly from helping this person get ready to meet her friend was that she always felt like she was in trouble with her. And she was going back to kind of go back into the relationship after she kind of did set some boundaries. And I said, get ready, because it's really not going to change. It's going to be the same thing. And is that what you want? So we thought we'd talk about this, and especially, like, is it loving to leave or is it loving to stay? All that kind of stuff. So I have been there myself in a relationship like that, and I had to let that relationship go. And that's probably why I saw it so quickly, is because I was in a relationship with a friend who, no matter what I did, I felt like I was in trouble. Like, Melissa, you shouldn't have said that at the table. Melissa, why are you talking so loud? Like, it just, one thing after the other, I couldn't do anything right. So I chose to move on from that relationship.
One thing I just want to point out right in the beginning here, that if you are in an abusive relationship where you're not safe, get out. Yes. Just get out. It's not worth it to, jeopardize your your health and well-being. So I just wanted to go on record saying that first before we dive into it, because we are going to talk about how, it's probably a good idea to evolve it so it doesn't happen again. But if it's abusive, get out.
Yes.
Protect yourself. Yeah.
So I have some questions for you, Melissa, because I'm guessing some people out there would want to know, what are some steps you took to distance yourself from that person? I'm sure it wasn't easy, and I'm sure it took, some time, some thought about the approach you would take, and being able to, not make them feel guilty about anything, and then preserving yourself and how you felt about yourself, and not feel like you were abandoning that person or something. So, yeah, can you explain that a little bit?
Well, I think it took a while for me to get it at first. Like, I just would have these like kind of yucky, like, oh, shoot, I did it again. Oh, shoot, something's wrong with me. And I made her uncomfortable. And then I started realizing I feel like I'm being picked on. And I feel like no matter what I do, it's not the right thing to do in her presence. So it took me a while to get there. And then once I got there, I was like, okay, this doesn't work for me anymore. And then I just called less, participated in events with her less, to the point where it just kind of diminished. I also think I've had friendships too that I have been very like I've come to the person and said, this doesn't work for me or that doesn't work for me. Not a lot, just a couple. And I kind of feel like for that, I wanted them to change. And I realized that that's not my place to make someone change for me. So I had to make the decision to exit.
Yeah.
I have a question for you, Melissa. We talk a lot. Our whole premise is that the world reflects what's in us.
Yes.
So I don't know how long ago this was, but did you do any internal work? Did you do any forgiveness work? Before you actually started distancing yourself, that was really hard for me to say for some reason. Between the time that you started noticing that something wasn't right, what internally did you do? If anything, right?
Well, this particular relationship was in my late 20s. So it was quite a while ago, but I was doing a lot of work. I was doing a lot of like psychological healing. So there was that going on. And yeah, and I think I just was uncomfortable with the uncomfortable feelings. And no, I didn't do any, forgiveness work or anything, but I also just let it go. I didn't punish her or, make her the bad guy. So, or maybe I did at first, but that's not how it is now.
Thank
Great
you.
question, Amanda. What comes to mind for me between the question I asked and then what you asked is assessing what role that person is playing in your story.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that sometimes it does mean it's the end of that relationship because you no longer need that. Maybe they were giving you validation or something, validating a part of your story that you don't carry that story anymore. Or there are friends that are there, for a lifetime. And maybe they were still serving a purpose for you then, but that needs to transition. And if it doesn't, I guess the point is if you make the assessment that maybe they're not going where you're going, where you're trying to go, And then maybe they are, and you both make those adjustments along the way. I've had both of those experiences. There are certainly people who have been in my life and have kind of falling by the wayside intentionally, maybe on their part and maybe on my part.
Mhm.
And then there are others who we've had to make adjustments along the way. And there's been this ebb and flow, and we've still maintained some level of relationship throughout the years.
I love that you shared that, Drusilla, because basically what I'm hearing you say, the two different types of evolutions for the relationships is that in one, the last one you were just talking about, it's like you both decided to graduate yourself from your old patterns of whatever was showing up that was toxic. And that's really beautiful. And the relationship may continue on or it may not. It just depends on, like you said, if there's a reason for this person to be in your life any longer or not. And so, yeah, that's a beautiful story that you share on how it's worked with you in your relationships. Yeah.
One thing that I've noticed is when I started on my spiritual path, when I started like really working on myself and healing all of my internal wounds, I was able to see some of these relationships that I didn't even notice before. Like I could see the manipulation, like how the subtle manipulations, like, because Melissa, the story that you told about your friend is like there is manipulation under there.
It's all manipulation.
It is all manipulation.
Mm-hmm.
And for me personally, I didn't start even knowing that that was happening around, by me, to me, through my relationships, and until I started working on my internal stuff, and until I started healing, like you say, those source wounds, allowing that to come up.
Yeah. And I think, like you were saying before, it is a reflection of your inner world projected outward. And sometimes I don't think we get the full picture or the answer why we've called this in and why this is a teaching point for us, especially in your 20s. Like for me, especially in my late 20s, I was psychologically healing, but I was not taking responsibility for things, like for what I saw in the world. So, and what I felt even. So I do think though, if I really just sit with it, I do think it was an opportunity for me to take care of myself, where I made a decision that I did not need to just have a friend. I needed to have loving friends. I needed to be in a situation that wasn't manipulative. So I think that is, that's where it went for me. I think there's lots of other reasons people are in relationships or out of relationships based on the reality that they're projecting. But that was mine.
I'm just thinking about like what relationships in my past have been toxic, or I have operated from fear, obligation, and guilt. And I mean, yeah, there's some older ones too, but what's coming to my mind is I've been watching my daughters who are in their mid 20s and late and early 30s. And I've watched them like cut off their arm to get rid of their toxic relationships. Like in 12-step recovery, we talk about detachment. That doesn't mean you have to, cut off your arm to detach from the person. You can detach with love. And I watched them kind of do it in a way that was pretty abrupt. And I wondered, gosh, is there another way to do this? And I mean, everybody's going to do it the way that works for them, right? But it was just interesting to watch it and the pain that comes along with it too. I mean, because these were like their best friends and they just realized that it was built on fog versus, love. And so I'm just thinking about that. I don't know. This has just got me thinking, this episode, about, what's a better way, or, okay, there's no good or bad ways. It's all just the way it is. Gosh, I can't even talk about this because I've got a frog in my throat. So it's obviously
a fog in your throat.
I've got fog in my throat. Yeah.
So good.
Wow, that is so interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
How our body responds. Yeah. I mean, I would love to say that I don't have any toxic relationships. I would love to say that, but I think that I do. Maybe I'm going to really evaluate. And if there's any fear, obligation, or guilt that I'm operating under, I got to really take a look at that and determine if it's in my best interest. Well, it's never in my best interest to operate that way. It's never. And so, yeah, this episode's just got me thinking about, is there? Yeah. What about you guys? You thinking about that?
I am the source question that you ask, where in your life, my life, do I feel controlled by fear, obligation, or guilt?
Mm-hmm.
That's a thinker.
Mm-hmm.
And then so once we have identified that, what's the next step, right? Okay, so I recognize that the only reason that I am in this relationship is because if I got out of it, it's because because I have to.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm in it because there's guilt over me. Or even the fear part of it is a big one. I'm only staying in this relationship because I fear what will happen if I get out of it.
Or I fear I'll never be able to get into another relationship again.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of fear.
What the A Course in Miracles described as a special relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I must say that I know we're talking a lot about friendship right now, but I will have to say there's a lot of special relationships in family. And I know this is around Thanksgiving when this episode airs. So it brings a lot of anxiety for a lot of people, knowing that they have to be, or they're choosing to be around family, knowing that there's some toxic relationships that they will have to affront during the holidays, or maybe even a spousal or intimate relationship that could be a special relationship. And I know I've talked a little bit about this throughout the last 3 years that we've been on this podcast. But I do know that I've worked on healing a lot of my special relationships in my family and also with my husband. And a lot of that is forgiveness, and it's self-forgiveness. And for me, it wasn't about making a decision about whether that person stayed in my life or not. It was doing the work for myself and just allowing whatever happened to happen and accepting that, releasing the attachment to it. So releasing, for example, I think that I've talked about going into my marriage and the kind of the foundational work was my brokenness attracting someone who's going to affirm that I am unworthy, right? And my way out of that was releasing the attachment, accepting my worthiness, and releasing any attachment to the fear of being alone, the fear of what happens. Am I ever going to find someone else? Just releasing all of the stories that go along with that and just allowing the relationship to be what it is, whether it stays together or whether it falls away, is kind of the approach I took to answer your question, Amanda. I think I went the long way around, but that was the step those were the steps I took to determining the approach I would take on whether the relationship stayed together or what the next phase of the relationship would be. It's just accepting whatever happens in it.
Drusilla, I love that. You made a point And Melissa, and you made similar points. One of the points that I heard was not trying to change. Like it's not our responsibility to change other people. And that's a big one too. That's something for me that helped me like let go of the attachment, is that this whoever that other person is living their own path. And it's not my job to change them or fix them, or, there's a lot in that, letting go of that attachment. That was one of my biggest steps. And I heard you both say that. And that's a hard one, like letting go of needing to fix.
Yes.
And thank you for what you both said, because I had an aha moment that was when she would criticize me, I would believe it. And that's my problem. So unless you talk too loud when we're out, and then my internal voice would say, yeah, you do. That's why no one likes you, like that whole thing. Right. And so instead of worrying about my dialogue, my personal dialogue, I was, and also that question about forgiveness brought this up. I was blaming her for the dialogue that I had and the reaction I had. I mean, no one wants to go out with a person every night when you go out that you're constantly being, hurted. But I was responsible for my reaction, and I was responsible for taking it as truth and letting it hurt me because my self-esteem was so bad. I thought she was right. So thank you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Beautifully said, Melissa.
Isn't that cool? I mean, that was 30 years ago and you just healed another level of it.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
The tool of self-forgiveness is amazing.
Yeah.
And Melissa, you hit on it perfectly. So could you go back through it and talk about like how that self-forgiveness would unwind now or just unwound for you? Like, because when some people hear forgive, right, it has all kinds of negative stuff. And then people talk about self-forgiveness, and the initial reaction is like, I don't have anything to forgive myself. But could you walk through what your self-forgiveness was, just to make it a little bit more clear?
Okay. I would say now, looking at it, my self-forgiveness is just that, if I could like talk in Penny's great voice, sweetheart. We're just so tender and sweet, and wanting to be liked and wanting to be loved and wanting to have fun with your friends. And it must have been so painful when someone pointed something out that you were already self-conscious about. And that's okay. It's just, I forgive myself for the insecurity that I had and the reaction that I had.
And for thinking it was true.
Yeah. Right.
It's not true.
No.
Tell her it's just not true.
Yeah.
Right.
And to go on a step further, what happens when you do that? This is just what I had an aha, Melissa, when you were talking.
Yay.
Tennis. Back at you.
It's that, it just reminds me of the episode that we just, of the series that we did, is that when you do that, you're giving yourself all of your power back. Being in that situation again, first of all, she's going to feed off your energy and probably not even ever say those things to you again. And secondly, if someone does criticize you, guess what? You have this buffer of power around you that I feel it just doesn't resonate with you. Like you're looking like, they must not be talking about me. I felt myself in this power in the last year or so that I don't imagine that there's much a person can say to me that if I don't already carry that inside of me, that is going to resonate with me. It's not going to do anything but bounce right off of me, you know?
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, I let it stick, right? It didn't bounce,
Yeah.
it stuck.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes back to if whoever is listening to this episode, if this resonates, go back and listen to the one before about changing our thinking,
Yeah.
right? Because it brings me back to that practice of even if someone says something that's hurtful, another tool is not to attach to it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
what is my mind trying to tell me right now?
Mm-hmm.
And taking a pause to is, really get into the self-healing and then letting go of all the other thoughts that come with that.
Yeah, and I think that naturally will evolve. I think Penny wants to talk about this a little bit, but that will naturally evolve your relationship and yourself to a
Mm-hmm.
vibration where you're going to be attracting friendships that are on the new vibration that you're on, the healing that representing the healing and the that you've done, and also you don't even, I think, have to make a decision about the relationship. It gets to a point of a vibration where the universe takes care of that for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, we need do nothing, right? But
Right.
step into our power, step into the truth of who we are.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things that I'm learning as I'm doing the work with Catherine Woodward Thomas is that um, when this, fracture in our development happened, we missed out on a lot of growth opportunities. And so like a lot of skills and capacities that the loving adults that were mentoring us or guiding us could have given us. And so we missed out on those. And so like I think Melissa, what you were sharing is that you've went back and you realized, oh, I needed to set a healthy boundary maybe with this person and say, hold it, ouch, that hurt what you just said, and or whatever it is. And so, there could be just something that's missing in our development that is having this show up over and over and over again. And so if we can go back and take a look, okay, what's missing for me? What skill or capacity do I need to develop so that I don't allow these type of people to run me? I guess basically that's kind of what I'm thinking of. And boundaries could be one, having a healthy boundary of not putting up with, or I don't know if that's the right word, but not allowing um, the person who is making you feel guilty if you leave, or making you have some fear about what could happen if you say something, or you feel obligated that, one time I thought, well, if I don't take care of this person, they'll commit suicide, because they were feeling kind of, and so I took that on like, oh my God, my fear was they'll commit suicide if I don't stick around and take care. And then I actually was so thankful that I had a coach at the time, and I shared it with her, and she said, Penny, you're not responsible for this person. Whatever they do, they do. It's not because of you. Like I thought I was so powerful that I was God myself, And so, so there's just, take a look inside and just see if there's something, if a pattern is repeating itself over and over again, just see if there's something that might be missing for you that you can develop. And you might need help of a coach. And all of us here at Five Lemons Laughing are coaches or spiritual counselors that can support you on your journey. And so I just wanted to say that.
And what you're saying is healing is an inside job.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
taking that focus off of there's something wrong with them doing this to me, you just start looking at yourself and your patterns and the decisions you make and the feelings you feel, and see if you can start healing yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And Drusilla, will you talk a little bit about how you move out of special relationships, like according to the Course of Miracles?
Yeah. So the one thing I was thinking when both you and Penny were just speaking was the word boundaries. I kind of struggled with that. And, the course doesn't talk much about it. And I understand why. It was kind of something you said, Penny, about um, the word boundaries. When that word comes to my mind and I think about it, oh, I'm going to have to set some boundaries with this person. That to me is a sign for myself that there's something being triggered. It's not something that I need to tell the other person to stop doing. Right. Yeah. So for me, that's the first step is that, the first sign that you're looking outside of yourself for healing. It's kind of like the same with forgiveness. If you're saying that you have to ask someone or you can't move forward until you get forgiveness from someone else, then you're asking someone else to help you heal, you know. So the things that I look for are those types of things, and they're just confirming my stories over and over again. So stopping the story is number 2. You recognize it. That's the awareness. And we all know if Morgan was here, she would say it. Awareness is curative. And, we laugh about it, but in that moment, instantly, it can be done. And recognizing, oh, this is what I'm doing. I'm telling myself the story. They're just affirming the story that I feel that I am loud and obnoxious, that I'm a bad person, that I'm unlovable. And, from there, it is just deciding, okay, I'm going to do this through, self-forgiveness? Am I going to try and dig into some stories that I learned in my childhood? There's a myriad of ways that you can approach it from there. But I think the main thing is just being aware that it is your story and your belief that's creating the uncomfortable situation. And it's never outside of ourselves.
So good, Drusilla. Yeah.
Well, even before that is there's something wrong with that person. The pointing, right? That pointing one finger out and the other finger through, you're pointing back at you. Again, like that's not like there's something wrong with that person. Second, I have to set some boundaries because there's something wrong with that person. So there are your warning signs very clearly that it is an inside job. And I like how you put it, Drusilla, that you're looking outside of yourself to make it feel good or be different.
I have a lot of boundary issues that I'm working through, and I like not having any. And it wasn't until I started doing the inside work, like we're all talking about, that, and I wouldn't even say that I set boundaries now. It's just the inside work. Now I don't have to set boundaries. Like I'm just gently drawn to being around people that vibe like me, or when I'm in a situation, and we're not, like Penny said at the beginning, I'm not talking about physical abuse or anything. I'm not talking about the need just to make radical change to keep life safe. It's about the really subtle things. So now I feel like I have a boundary that I didn't put in place. Drusilla, when you said earlier, it just bounces off. It's an invisible, it's an invisible God boundary right now. It's an invisible thing that happens for me. It's the force is with me.
I love that.
Yes.
So true.
Yes.
Yeah. And I love what Drusilla said about boundaries. They're for me. It's not for me to share, I can't be with you because you're toxic. It's no, okay, what inside me am I allowing myself to be treated this way? Like, why am I not loving myself enough to create the people around me that have a higher vibe, Yeah. Yeah. It really
And I
just all
will
goes back to
honestly
self-love.
say, I will honestly say, I probably, I'm pretty certain that I lost more friendships when I wasn't secure about who I am than I have since I've been on this journey. I found that since I have learned to protect my power and to maintain my power and to understand that that is an inside job, I have been able to maintain relationships through my growth instead of having to sever, or like Penny described us, cut my arm off to get rid of the friends.
Gnaw your own arm off.
Right. And it has been more gentle and loving.
Yeah.
Like if we're here to be light workers, then we can work with the darkest of souls and still be gentle and loving through our growth and their growth.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, just all comes back to it's an inside job.
Mhm.
It really has nothing to do with what's going on out here, except that gives us the signals of what we need to work on inside. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. So if you're in that relationship that just doesn't seem right, there's a lot of things you can do to create. I'm going to use the word safety because it just seems like it fits to create that safety within yourself
Mhm.
to stay out and in or to stay or go or whatever it is that happens, letting it just evolve and unfold, right? Yeah.
Did Amanda call it the God bubble, the God boundary? What'd you call it?
I don't know, something with God.
The force field. The force is with her.
The
Yeah.
force.
Field. Yeah.
The
The
God
force is
field.
with me. The God field.
The God force. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Beautiful. So, anything else that anybody wants to share about the fog and lifting the fog?
I want to say
That's
something
it.
really funny. I'm smiling really hard because it reminds me of this friend I had. We used to work together, and this was when we were in our early 30s, and we were both dating a lot. And we would come to work and pull out the 8 ball that had the little, the ones that had
Oh yeah, the black
The magic 8 ball.
magic
Yes.
8 ball.
I
The
think we're
magic
dating ourselves, Drusilla.
And we would come and say, oh, yeah, let's use the 8 ball to see if we need to come out of the fog on this one.
That's so good.
All
I
signs
like,
point to yes.
Yes.
yes. What's one of them?
Oh,
Yes. So it just gave me some fun memories of Sherry. I hope one day you're watching, Sherry.
I wonder if she still has that magic 8 ball.
Yeah.
Yeah. Life can be fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
Life
have
is fun.
yeah, exactly. Thank you for the reframe, Amanda.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
our how we say things and language things is really powerful. Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah. So I have a couple post-its if you guys are
Yay.
ready for that.
Yes.
Yeah. Do the work to evolve and allow whatever whatever is going to happen to happen. I think that's the first thing when we're looking at lifting the fog, the fear, obligation, and guilt. I love this one. Let go of attachment to not to an outcome. And I did write acceptance down too, but I didn't like that one. So have acceptance and let go of the attachment. But because we always talk about acceptance and awareness, and so I just wanted to point out I did hear that again today. And it's not my job to fix the other person or change the other person. And the final one, well, there's two of them. I'm going to do them both at the same time. So forgiveness rebuilds personal power, and the healing is an inside job. Self-forgiveness rebuilds personal power. I thought that was really powerful. Yeah. When you shared that, Melissa, about the self-forgiveness that you went through. So thank you, everyone, for listening to our podcast today with these lovely 4 lemons laughing. Our 5th is enjoying her family. Yeah. So today we uncovered how fear, obligation, and guilt can trap us in relationships that may not be the type of relationships we'd like to be in. And once we are aware of what's going on, then that's when we can start to get out of the fog, just to get ourselves out of that fog. And so choosing peace and acting honestly and just being loving and kind to ourselves is the key. And just like Melissa was saying, just love up that little girl or that little boy inside you who may not feel that they have the strength and the courage and the power to take a stand for themselves. Just love them up, and that will help to heal the fear, the guilt, or the obligation that you might have. Yeah. So just take a moment to ask yourself today if where fear or guilt might be holding you back, and where you might want to reclaim your personal power. And so until next time, remember that your transformation is our greatest joy. And so until next time, have a really beautiful day and just keep moving forward, right? Keep on the path. Everything's happening as it should.
It is.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye for now.